What's up guys, Anthony here from Gee's Garage. I got a little bit of a different video for you today. Today we are going to do a walkthrough and review of my Gheenoe 15.4 high sider. I personally believe that this is probably one of the best budget boats that you can possibly buy. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you the things that I like. I'm going to tell you the things that I don't like. And I'm going to tell you some things that people aren't going to tell you when you're looking at buying one. And you know, just some other common issues, kind of motor you want to go, just an all-around balanced review. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is my first boat walkthrough, so I guess we'll just start at the beginning. Start with the trolling motor. This is a Bill Dance 50-pound thrust motor guide hyperdrive Machete 2. You got the Bill Dance signature there. Bill Dance again, 12 volt. I think it's got 5-speed forward and reverse. I'm gonna be 100% real with you guys. This is probably the piece worth the least on the entire boat. So basically, we had this trolling motor laying around, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna run it, and then when it breaks or no longer operates, I'm going to buy a nice Minn Kota trolling motor, maybe foot control if I get real lucky. And it's just been going strong. I've been using this thing for a few years now on multiple different vessels. It's attached to this Gheenoe brand. This is a real Gheenoe part attached to this Gheenoe nose cone. I got this and this used on Marketplace. This was, you know, 40, 80 bucks. Went ahead and tapped into my side rails here, and this actually holds it pretty good. I can't haul going down the road with the trolling motor on there, but that's fine. It's probably, it could use some replacement on the rubber here, and they all crack right there. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but they all crack right there in that corner. That's just part of the deal. If you don't want to deal with the cracks, if you want to make a heavier duty one, you need to angle this at 10 degrees because the nose kind of angles, so it wouldn't be flat if you didn't angle this. These are just Amazon anchor ties. I've had this boat for less than a year, so I don't know all the slang and terminology, but I got these on Amazon. They're like $12 for 2 of them. Comes with the stainless screws. They're actually pretty sturdy. And I got one towards the back here, and I use that to use with my dock lines, just attached to the dock. I would also like to add that I am not sponsored by anybody currently. Absolutely no one. So everything in this video is 100% my opinion. Nobody's giving me anything for free. Nobody's even giving me any discounts. Everything I say in this video is the truth as I see it. This is a Arctic cooler. It's a 32 quart ultralight. Fits absolutely perfect if you have a Gheenoe 15.4 high sider. I can stand on this. I can fish off of it. It's a nice cooler. Sturdy enough to sit on. It's super light actually. See, still open it. Got my waters in there, other beverages possibly, fish, whatever you want to put in there. Under the nose cone I have life jackets. I have dock lines, an emergency paddle. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I got an emergency paddle in there. And you can also fit a battery in there too to go to the trolling motor. And I know that these aren't the right connections, but they're what I had. And I honestly didn't think that this trolling motor was going to last that long. I did the splatter in here. It's actually just a regular white top coat that you can get on Amazon for cheap. It's like 30 bucks a quart. Just splattered Tractor Supply black implement paint on it, and it came out really nice. This is also Amazon special decking here, or EVA foam or whatever. This actually sticks really good, believe it or not. And I went with this over seats because it's like comfortable enough to keep your butt on it, but also you can stand on it. And I like to stand on these while I fish. If there was a big bulky seat there, I couldn't do that. I'd have to be in the bottom of the boat. And there's no false floor in the 15.4s unless you modify it. I have a 8-foot ground rod instead of a sand spike because I found that on the ground at a job for free. So I didn't have to buy a sand spike. And it actually perfectly goes through all the way up to here, and that doesn't move an inch. I got my net there. That ground rod kind of keeps the net from flopping. Horizontal rod holders just right there. I put a little bit of foam in the very end of them just to keep the rod tips from going through and then getting snapped on the way out. I have this little set of pliers here, and this is supposed to like hold the door shut to the dry well, but I've never had an issue with it flying open. This is just what's in my dry well. I got my whistle, I got my dry box, my kill cord in here is where I keep it, some spare plugs, spare ratchet for the plugs. Just basic stuff. Throw a flashlight in there occasionally. This is the name of the boat, of course. It's McGee's Garage, so we got to have the Gheenoe. Got the H in there and everything. These badges are really cheap if you want to pick up an old Gheenoe and just redo the badges, although this rivet popped out, but that's not really a huge deal. Come over to this side. We have a powder coated side mount grab bar. It mounts to the side rails here, and it's got 3 stainless screws into the lock. Actually, it's bolted. My bad. This is stainless machine screws with washers and lock nuts is how it bolts in there. Believe it or not, this is actually super sturdy. I can run about 23, 24 with this thing, and I'm grabbing this grab bar pretty hard. I'm actually manipulating the boat a little bit as I hit waves and chop, and this grab bar doesn't move a bit. I also got this off Marketplace for 40 bucks from the same guy I got that nose cone and trolling motor from. So this is the driver's seat. I don't really spend a whole lot of time up here. I have this little flared end piece of pipe and some stainless hose clamps. I can drive from here. Like, I stand right here, I hold this, and I grab the grab bar with my right hand, and that's usually how I drive it. And that's best for weight distribution. The cooler, if it's full, it's got some weight up front, especially with the battery, and then I keep most of my weight in the middle, personally, like my body. And then for weight in the back, we have the motor and gas tank. This is where I keep my tackle box, spare rope. I don't have a bilge pump, so this is, I cut a water bottle out of necessity one day, and it's just kind of hung out here. 3-gallon gas can, probably get about 30 miles to the 3 gallons. I've never completely ran it out. By the time I'm done running around, it's still got like a gallon, maybe a little bit less in it. Even with a passenger, it's very fuel efficient because this boat's so light. They draft really shallow and they don't weigh very much at all. Second life jacket, that's the one I actually wear. If I know I'm going to do something sketchy, I throw that on, especially in a storm. I redid the transom. This is about 5 times as strong as anything that ever came on a Gheenoe from factory. It's 3/4 marine plywood in here. I just glassed over. I built it up really nicely. There's no cracks, nothing like that. This is, see, usually the Gheenoe transoms, especially on this, are like literally a piece of 1/2-inch plywood glassed in. It goes from here to here, and it's only about 6 inches down. It's very small. It's not sufficient, I don't think, for even the 9.9s. A lot of the 9.9s are the same block as the 15s, so it's not really sufficient for the amount of weight that they hold. So I did this myself. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for who it's for. The one thing that I don't like other than the transom is the holes. This is an 06. It's not really a super old Gheenoe. There's Ghenoes from the 70s still. And you probably can't see it on camera, but I had to patch this right here because I was running with a passenger, and we hit just the right wave, just the right way, and it cracked the hull right here. And this is a very common problem on Ghenoes. They have a very flexy hull, especially if they don't have a false floor. Like, you can just press on it, and when you're on plane and you're standing up in this thing, it feels like your feet are on the water. The floor lifts up an inch or two. I don't think that I misused it. It was just the way the floor flexes. It probably just happens over time. Just something to be aware of. Basic fiberglass work can fix it. I haven't had any issue since then, but it's just something to know. Then we get to the real meat. This is, in my opinion, the best motor that you can buy for the Gheenoe. Is a Mercury Mariner 2-stroke 15, because these motors are the same block as the Mercury 8.0s of the time. This motor is a 15 and only weighs 74 pounds. So basically, this is the best power to weight ratio motor that you're ever going to get in this horsepower range of Ghenoes. Ghenoes are rated 9.9 from the factory, but they can definitely take a 15, especially if you've upgraded the transom a little bit, which they need anyway, in my opinion. So the number one question that I get asked is, how is the stability on it? And I'll tell you, the Ghenoes are actually very, very wide. This is just a high-sider, and it's 4 feet wide, and you see it's got these ridges on the side there. That's like secondary stability. So you don't ever, I mean, like, if you're in danger of capsizing, you're probably doing something you shouldn't, or you're over the weight limit. You should be good in chop. It's uncomfortable. You might get a little bit wet, but you should be okay. Stability is very good. It's much better than a normal Gheenoe, especially if you get like a classic or an LT 10 or 25 or something. This is a high sider. They usually have a beam, which is width of about just under 4 feet, but a classic, for example, would have like 4.5 feet of beam. So it'd be like out here. So these are some of my thoughts on the Ghenoes. They're very stable for what they are. You're not going to get like pontoon boat stability out of it or anything like that, but you're very stable for what you're doing. You might have to be careful what days you go out if you're running in like the Tampa Bay area or something like that, somewhere with real waves, or if it's like a real big lake. I had an issue on a 5,000 acre lake one time. That's actually where the hull cracked. You got to have some skill, but this is still a great first boat. You learn a lot on one of these. I don't recommend you go out and sign up for the 20-year 9.2% financing, whatever Bass Pro Shops is trying to push, and buy a new tracker and then go and bang that one off of docks and trees and rocks and whatever. Buy a cheap boat like a Gheenoe, maybe not a Gheenoe, maybe a John boat. I don't care. There's nothing wrong with a 12-foot, 14-foot John boat and a Yamaha 20, you know? Especially if you're in Florida, these are some of the best boats you can come across for cheap. For example, I got this hull. Now keep in mind, this was an old duck hunting boat. It was hammered. The transom was blown out. There were cracks all in the cross pieces, bunks, whatever you want to call them, seats, seat brackets, I don't know. There was all kinds of stuff wrong with it. I had to do work, but I got the hull, a few $100 to a buddy of mine. It came with a title, trailer you can get for a few $100, $200 or $300. These motors, you can, if you're cool with running the old 2-stroke life, you can get a 9.9, which is what they're rated for stock, or a 15 for like $500 to $800 on Marketplace. You might need to put a couple hundred more because of, I highly recommend you get a professional mechanic to service your boat. Honestly, it's worth the money to me. If you are mechanically inclined with marine mechanics, go ahead. I've changed impellers. I did good. I'm fine. I don't know who you are watching this video, but if you're in Florida, you can find these for cheap. They made tons of them. There's literally over 100,000 just probably high-siders in the state. You hang out at the boat ramp, you'll see one eventually. These also have a cult following. You can go to Gheenoeholics 2.0, Gheenoe Owners Group on Facebook. There's a lot of great information to be had. Huge community, tons of aftermarket, very nice people. The Gheenoe community is very cool. These things are pretty easy to come by and relatively inexpensive. I have probably around $2,500 all in on this boat in particular, and the trailer under it. Anything not around the $2,500 mark, I'm not sure if I would go with a motorized boat personally. If somebody told me that I only have $1,000 to get out on the water, I would tell you to buy a nice fishing kayak, slightly used off Marketplace, for $800. You can get a New Canoe Unlimited for that. If you look around, you can get maybe a Hobie for $1,500. I would tell you to buy a fishing kayak. I personally have a New Canoe. I love it. It's a great kayak. But if you got a couple grand, $2,000, $2,500, you can get set up with a really nice Gheenoe if you choose your deals wisely. I'm not going to tell you that you're going to go out on Marketplace right now and find exactly what you're looking for. But I mean, if a high-sider isn't in the cards, you can get I've seen 13s for under $1,000 with titles and trailers. I needed the high-sider because I just wanted the extra feet. I don't have a storage stipulation. I'm very fortunate to have parents that have a little bit of land, so I can literally get a center console if I wanted. These do fit in a single car garage, or even if you have a 2-car garage up front, it'll fit right in there, man. And you can put your truck next to it, and you know, you can get trailers with swing tongues on them. If you know what that is, it's kind of like you pull on them, and then they got like a pin that locks them in, and then when you push them in the garage, they might stick out like an extra foot or whatever, but you can swing that in, and it shortens up the trailer, but your tongue swings around. It's like a moving part, but if you have like a garage that's shallow, it would totally work. Speaking of shallow, these boats draft 3 to 5 inches of water, 5 inches fully loaded. This one probably is around 3 or 4 with me in it. It would be better if my motor wasn't hanging down. I need a jack plate. That's the one thing that I really want, and I don't have yet. That's probably going to be another few $100. That is the next upgrade I'm probably going to get. But all in all, these Ghenoes are great, but you're going to get wet. It's not an offshore boat. If you're just going to run calm days inshore, wonderful, get a Gheenoe. If you're just going to fish okay sized lakes like 6,000 acres and under, get a Gheenoe. Just probably should stay out of the middle. Although I've totally ran up the middle on those big lakes before. But you know, once you're out there, you're out there. So. But these boats, when you look at the numbers, when you run all the numbers on everything, they're low cost to maintain, low cost to get into, and I don't know anybody anything on this. If I can keep people from going into debt, I would like to, but at the end of the day, it's your personal choice what kind of boat you got. You might have watched this video and thought, wow, this is the stupidest boat I've ever seen. Why am I still watching it? I don't know, man. Buy what boat you want. If you got 18 kids, this isn't the boat for you, man. But if you're just a young man like me, you know, maybe you got a girlfriend or whatever you want to take, wife, this is a perfect boat to get out on the water. And it's just something just a little different too, because there's still a ton more job boats than these, even in my area. Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, support my channel. It's a smaller channel. Every little bit helps. I'm slowly, steadily growing. I hope you enjoyed my little TED Talk on these stupid but amazing boats. Don't be afraid to comment what you thought, what you might be considering. I do read comments sometimes, and I would like to see what you guys think. Anyway, that's it for this week's video at McGee's Garage.